welcome to Woman, Lady, Sister, the podcast. This is season 2. I am your host, Rita. I am excited about returning. This is January 2024. Guys, I am just checking in. I have a wonderful speaker today that will be, we will invite her in shortly. But happy New Year, happy 2024 to everyone. We know that this is the month that we will be celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. We are excited about that. Today's topic is the power of a pivot. And again, we have a wonderful speaker that will be coming on shortly. But before we do anything, you guys know that I like to go before the throne of grace. So I just ask you to go before the Lord with me right now. Father, we come to you just thanking you for a brand new year, a brand new season, a brand new day, Father, of your grace and your mercy. We thank you, Father, as we slept and we slumbered last night, God. We thank you for another opportunity and another chance to just say thank you, Father, for who you are and what you are in our lives. God, we thank you for everything that you have done in the past year. And Lord, that here we are in a new year. And we are just so grateful to say thank you, Father. And thank you for your darling son, Jesus, who went before the cross for us, Father. Lord, we have a powerful message on today. The power of a pivot. Father, you know the changes and the transformation and the things that we have to go through in this season and in this life, Father. And we ask you to just bless our speaker on today, God. Use her in a way, Father, that she will be able to say something that will help another sister or anyone that's listening, Father. We thank you, Lord. We ask you to just bless her ministry, continue to bless her walk, her family life. Whatever she needs, Father, you know what she needs, Father. And we just thank you and we magnify your name and we give you all the praise, the glory, and the honor. In Jesus' name, amen. Hello, hello, hello. Today's topic is the power of a pivot. My guest speaker today, my first speaker for season 2, is Fran Sandra Owens. She's a licensed clinical social worker. I am excited to have her with us today. Miss Fran is a woman, a wife, a mother, and a mental health professional. She is a licensed clinical social worker with over 10 years of experience in mental health. She has a Master of Social Work degree from the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana and a Bachelor of Science degree from Millikan University, where she has been able to cultivate her love of helping others into her current therapeutic practice. Currently, she works as a trauma therapist, specializing in assisting trauma victims overcome their trauma and become the best version of themselves. Fran, welcome to Woman, Lady, Sister. The floor is open. We will allow you to tell us more about who you are before we begin our interview process.
Well,
Welcome,
thank you,
Fran.
thank you, thank you. I can't. Great introduction. I appreciate it. It makes me sound like so professional, and I love it. Um, like you said, my name is Fran Chandra Owens. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I Today's message really hits home for me, right? Because
Wow.
when I say one, I didn't think I was going to become a social worker, and I for sure didn't think I was going to be a therapist.
Oh, wow.
If anybody would have asked me, I'd be like, "Oh no, I don't want to do this. Ooh, I am not the therapist person. I am not it." Ooh, that pivot though. It's like sometimes it kills me or it cracks me up how God will literally just keep throwing in your face what
Yes.
you think. This is what you think
Yes.
you gonna do. Yep. But let me just go ahead and throw this curveball. Uh, so, um, yeah, I never really thought that I would be working as a therapist in my life. As When I was younger, I absolutely thought like I was going to be a nurse. My mom is a nurse.
Mhm.
At 16, I became a CNA. I was working in healthcare from like 15 on. Like I've always worked in healthcare, and I was like, I'm going to be a nurse. I got this. We cool. Went to Millikan, was in their nursing program, and hated it. Hated
Oh,
every minute
wow.
of it. Like I love being with patients. I've always loved being with patients. I could do that with my eyes closed. I hated taking the tests. I hated studying for all the material. I hated all the tedious details of it, and all of that is important.
Mm-hmm.
You want any type of nurse, doctor, anything like that. They should probably know what they're doing, especially around medications and things like that. And I was like, okay, I have to know this stuff. I know the material a little bit, but not like overly much. But I could come in and talk to a patient like that.
Awesome.
Right? I can stand up and advocate for a patient like that. Doctor came in at one point and was like making all these changes. The patient was just looking super confused, and I was just standing there going, so can you explain to me what you mean by XYZ? Did you want them to take this medication? Because I have it right here, and you said you want them to stop. You want them to take this dose or not? Okay. And what about this? And like I made him sit down and explain it. I was like, I'm a nursing student. I don't know what I'm talking about. I was like,
the light bulb. Okay.
Right. I let them leave. I said, you understood all that? She was like, I said, okay. Because I was like, man, like you talking all fast, you going through all this stuff. Okay, I'm a nursing student. You got to wait for me because this is a teaching hospital.
Yeah.
Right. So like all of that I could do, no problem. And all throughout it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be a nurse, never realizing I'm doing all the stuff that I would now be doing as my profession. And so it cracks me up that all of these little signs were there. They were there. They were present. But I just wasn't taking it. I wasn't trying to work on my purpose. I wasn't trying to do it. I had it in my mind what was going on. And so then, God was like, all right, bet, I got you. So just to kind of kick it off, in nursing school, in general, you can only fail one core class and be able to repeat before they kick you out. So my sophomore year, I failed a class because my grandmother died, got depressed, and was like, I'm not really doing anything. I barely scraped by. Right. Okay. Retook that course, went through it, was fine. My senior year, I had one more semester left. That's it. One more semester. Failed again because my grandfather died.
Oh, wow.
Repeat. And at that point I was done. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I got to figure out something else. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm crying. I'm in like our academic office trying to figure out like, what am I going to do? Because I have one more semester left before I graduate. One. That's it. 3 months. That's it.
Wow.
And they were like, well, if you do psychology, you're going to have like another year. If you do what was then human services, which is like a adjacent social work type of degree, you'll have like a year and a half because you have extra. And I was like, I have 3 months. I have 3 months. And so at that point, I had other friends and things like that who had a degree program at that point where you can make up your own degree and create it. And so I just asked them, I said, is it possible for me to do this? They're like, well, normally you have to declare this by like your sophomore year. Like, do you know what you want to do? When I say, I straightened up so quick and was like, I started spouting off all the knowledge, all the things that I wanted to do. And here's how I can incorporate. I was like, I can incorporate nursing, psychology, and something else. Right. And I can incorporate all these things because I already have the credits. I can incorporate all these things. I was talking, they started pulling out forms. They
wow.
Like, oh, here we go. Baby, you got it. Oh, wow. You know what you want to do. You got this. So literally that whole summer, I had to spend creating a proposal, getting 3 academic advisors to sign off that they would sign off and saying that I could do it, getting signed into classes. When I say I was in these teachers' ears saying, hey, I got 3 more months. Sign me into your class. Right. Quit playing. Right. I got 3 more months. Sign me into this class so I can get this class so I can leave. Yeah. And man, like there's a saying like, it's not what you know, but who do you know? Right. Mm-hmm. Well, there's another part of that. It's what they know about you. That really, when I say that what they know about me helped me out at that point, because I came in and was like, hey, remember me from XYZ class? This is what's going on. This is what happened. This is what I need. Is this possible? And they were like, because it's you. Here you go. No fight. No fight. Because it was me. Because I was active on campus. Because I was always willing to help out people. Because I was always like in and out and doing different things. And that was the first like major pivot in my life where I was like, I have to pivot. I have to figure this out. And I have to utilize the tools and the people that surround me to promote my own growth. Right.
Yeah.
That was a time. That was a time. So like, that was the first major time that like I had to pivot as like an adult. Right. So as an adult, I had to pivot. I had to change. I had to really figure out, who am I? What is it that I want to do? Like, what does the best version of myself look like without the idea in my brain that I'm going to be a nurse?
Yeah.
Right. Because again, since like 15, 16, I was going to be a nurse. I'm in my 20s.
Right.
It's been close to a decade at that point. I literally have no clue. So it always cracks me up, like, especially when I like have to explain this to interns that I work with, things like that. I say, y'all might not know what you want to do right now. You're thinking, oh, okay, I really think I want to do therapy. You get in an internship and start doing therapy. You be like, I hate it. And I'm like, yeah, it be like that.
Miss Fran, you sound so excited and enthused, and I'm so excited to have you on the show today because you've already shared some major things that you've experienced. And you know, when we try to take our own plan, but God was in the plan all the time. He made the tools available for you, even even as you were going through the transformation with your grandparents, you know, the death, and sometimes that will stop you and block you, and you're like, oh, just like you say, oh, I can't finish this. But look at you now. Look what God was. All of that was part of your plan, of His plan for your life to keep moving forward. You was thinking a nurse, but He had another plan for you. And here you are today, and I am just so excited for you sharing your testimony. That is an awesome testimony. Just starting out, you know, where you are right now. And I just love your enthusiasm. I just love that. Love it, love it, love it. So we're going to start with our questions, get into the interview. I want to hear more about your story and more about who Fran is. So if you can describe a situation where you had to convince your stakeholders of the need for a pivot, and how did you approach it, and what was the outcome of that?
So while working for one of the previous places I worked with, COVID, I was in the midst of COVID, and that was a time.
Yes.
That was a time for any type of healthcare professional, but especially for mental health, the rise in mental health and things like that. So I was working as a care coordinator at that point, and COVID happened. They were like, okay, we have to completely adjust how we do this and how we're going to intake people and get people in and have them checked and things like that. And part of my job as a care coordinator, they were like, we need y'all to be downstairs and be like checking people in, trying to figure out what they need, sending them to the right place, things like that. Like, we need y'all to triage, essentially.
Correct.
Immediately, so that we can help space people out and things like that. And so they had a whole plan of how they wanted things to be done. And then the first girl that they had sent down there, she got super overwhelmed. She was like, and they were like, hey, Fran, can you like go downstairs and like help or like take this over? And I was just like, sure. It wasn't my plan. That wasn't part of my job that day. I had other things I had to do, but I went down there. I completely revamped what they thought they was gonna do, because I was like, this ain't working. This is what we're gonna do. So I had to write all that down, make sure I explained it to everybody, make sure I explained the process, that I had come up with to help streamline things, because what they thought they was going to, it wasn't working.
It wasn't working.
It wasn't working at all. So I had to like start convincing my direct supervisor, the supervisors are over her, like, this is how we should do this, because one, it protects us as the triage people, because again, we're dealing with mentally ill people.
Yes.
I'm dealing with a mentally ill person who's coming in on 10 already. And I'm sitting here going, hey, I understand that you just want to go to, but they ain't gonna talk to you. You got to talk to me. They're gonna send you right on back over here. So let's skip that back and forth in that step, right? And just talk to me. What is it that you need? Oh, you need this? Come wait right over here. I'm gonna have somebody write out for you. Oh, you need XYZ. Oh, you're here for the doctor? No problem. Go ahead and go check in. I'm going to go ahead and let them know who you here to see. And just, I need you to go sit down in the corner for me. And they're like, okay, fine. Right. And so like, I have to convince everybody, like, this is what it is.
Yes.
Because COVID, especially during that time, I mean, this is early 2020. Like, we just trying to figure this out. We trying to keep people safe. We're trying to keep people healthy. We're trying to keep clients healthy. And keep getting clients to be like, you have to put on a mask. I understand you don't want to put on a mask. You got to put on a mask. Again, we're dealing with mental ill people. So, you know, I have a mask on. People think I'm somebody else. I'm like, that's not who this is. I'm Fran. You know me. You had several conversations. You don't recognize my voice? Yeah, I kind of recognize my voice. Exactly. So trust me, this is Fran. Let's go. Let's figure this out. And so with COVID was another big major pivot in, I think, everybody's lives. Right. Absolutely. It caused people to be like, "Ooh, I got to adjust some things in my life. I got to reevaluate some, like, the things in my life." It was at that point that I was just getting my license. Like, I had like another few months before I could like take my test. And I was in the midst of COVID. And I was just like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to take my test because everything is shut down.
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, when you are studying, when you are trying to get a licensure, a full licensure for social work or counseling or anything like that, you have to apply to the state. You have to get information from your master's degree school, apply to the state, then wait for them to review everything and say, yes, you're approved to take your test, as well as pay money. With COVID, almost everything was shut down. Absolutely. So like I had to wait a few months just to get my official transcripts for my school. I had to wait a few more months for them to just read over everything with my with my licensure application. And I'm just like, I'm paying out this money, and it's a few $100s. It's a few $100. I'm paying out this money just to wait.
Yes.
And so by the time they finally was like, yeah, you can go take your test. And I was like, okay, how long do I have to wait to actually take my test? And again, I had to wait. It took me close to 9 months for that entire process because it was in the middle of COVID. And so during that whole time, I'm just like, I got to figure out this. I gotta be able to make money. I got to be able to take care of my home. I had literally just gotten married right before COVID.
Wow.
Like, so I was just like, well, that honeymoon that we was going to put off.
Absolutely.
We put that off. We was like, we ain't going. We ain't traveling around the world. What?
Yeah.
We're not traveling. And so like, it was doing things like that. And just trying to like, just figure out life and figure out my priorities and then waiting on things. Cause I was like, I know I want this licensure. I know these are things I want to do, but it's just everything is so unknown. So by the time I was able to really like schedule my test and be able to like study and take my test, I was just like, I'm so over this. I'm so over this.
Yeah.
I believe I answered the question, but like as far as stakeholders and really convincing them, a lot of times when you are trying to convince the people who have stake or stock into the things that you are doing, whether that's for an actual employer or for your own, like your self-employment or anything like that, a lot of times it is the passion that you have, but it's also the plan that you have, right? What is your plan? What passion do you have and excitement do you have that can get them excited? But also, what's your success rate? How successful have you been in the past? Because when I was trying to convince them of this is the process that we need to go to, it wasn't that hard of a fight because of who I was.
Right.
Because of how hard I've worked, because of the success that I have brought to the company previously. I was just like, hey, this is what it is. This is how I feel like it should go. You can adjust it personally, right? Like each individual can adjust things personally, but this is the process that we need to go through, which is going to streamline a whole lot more things. As a person who literally doing it first day, first try, just trying to figure out how we are going to triage these people in a place that is not set up to have that type of triage, right? This is not set up like this. So we're just creating things.
Yeah.
We are just creating spaces. And that being said, like I was losing here going, all right, this is what it is. But I didn't have a whole lot of pushback from the stakeholders in that point. But that's because my track record showed itself. And when your track record proves itself, it can make your life so much easier when you're trying to excel.
Absolutely. Awesome. Very well stated. And yeah, COVID was a pivot for everyone, every single person in this world. Yeah. And so thank you for sharing that. And in your opinion, what role does adaptability play in the success of a business, especially when you're considering the potential for pivoting?
I think it's imperative, right? So in business and in personal life, I think sometimes you have to be adaptable. So if we think about like, me actually becoming a social worker, I had to be very adaptable on the fly. But with that, I use my knowledge that I had to be like, ooh, they are asking me what I want to do. And I can spout off a whole bunch of stuff that they probably don't even realize, right? Like I could say, well, what I wanted to do in nursing is be a nurse case manager, which would entail doing blah, 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 blah. And I'm just listing off all these things. And I was like, and I can do that by getting this degree and just basically doing more social work and because I had the knowledge base, right? And so when you are able to be adaptable, when you're able to be like, squirrel, let me take this left. This is a sharp left. I wasn't prepared, but we on two wheels and we going. Right? So when you're adaptable enough to say, we on these two wheels, I'm still going to have some semblance of balance, right? And be able to come out on the other side. When you're able to do that, you are basically broadening all of your opportunities, right? And so when it comes to business, if you're adaptable and you can change, you can roll with the punches, right? You let the water roll off your back. You're able to truly sit down, say, okay, this didn't work out like planned. This was not as successful as planned, but here are all the successes. Here's where there's room for improvement. Here's what we need to just stop. You can evaluate that quickly on the fly or very quickly after things have occurred and just keep moving. That in itself, especially when it comes to business, imperative. You have to, because let's say another COVID happens. What you gonna do? Because again, COVID made people businesses especially, completely reevaluate.
Yes.
What is it that we need to do? And when you're thinking about personally, right, how you can be adaptable and how that helps benefit you personally, I always say, like, what's the best version of you, right? When you're thinking about what is the best version of you, that can change day by day, right? Day by day. The best version of me right now might be I done got whole 6 hours of sleep because my son actually slept. Right? I done got some sleep. I'm energized. I'm good. But the best version of me the next day might be I got a whole 3 hours of sleep,
Yeah.
and I'm still able to function and roll and be there for my clients and
Yeah.
be the person that I need to be for my clients, right? And so being adaptable means that you are able to evaluate how much energy, time has to go into each things in your life, because there are all these things that are happening in your life. There are all these things
Absolutely.
that you have to take care of in your
Mhm.
life, but you
Mhm.
can't put 100% into everything. You
Right.
can't. You only got 100% of yourself each day. So you can't put 100% into everything. You can't put 90% into one thing. You have to allocate. And so being adaptable means I put way too much time and energy yesterday into XYZ.
Mhm.
I didn't get enough time. I didn't give enough time to my family, my husband. I didn't give enough time to clients. I didn't get enough time to God. I didn't get enough time to uh just enjoying myself, right? Bring
Mhm.
my own self peace,
Mhm.
right? I didn't give enough time for that. Now where am I? Right? Am I extra stressed? Do I have more tension in my body? Am I holding on to resentment and aggression and things like that that has built up because I haven't been putting time into
Mhm.
myself? I haven't been putting time into the things that I love. That's all about adaptability. That's all about
Absolutely.
how you can say and be introspective enough to be like, this is it. I need to adjust. I need to change. So yeah, adaptability.
That was awesome. So, can you share a time when you encountered unexpected challenges during a project and it had to adjust your strategies? And you talked a little bit about that
Mhm.
with the COVID. Uh, but what was your thoughts, the thought process, and what were the results of that?
So I would say not necessarily like with a project, but just kind of like overall in my life, right? As I'm finally fully licensed, right? I can say,
Wonderful.
woo, or I can
Excellent.
say, woo, LCSW, I got this, right? So I'm finally fully licensed. I'm working in a job that I thoroughly enjoy. I enjoy my my team, my agency. I love it. I love working community mental health. What I did not love was my direct supervisor, who very micromanaging. That doesn't really work with me. I need you to trust that I know how to do my job. Allow me to do my job. That's how I've always been.
Absolutely.
Right. And so you had that, but you had also had this there was a level of jealousy with her, um partly because with her position, we had both been up for the same position. She got the position. I had no problem with that. I was like, okay, great, congrats. I was cheering her on. I was cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got my LCSW. I am now more qualified for her position than she is. She did not even have her full license. I was like, I'm now more qualified than you are. And she knows it. And the agency knows it. And they're just sitting there looking at her going, where
Mm.
you at? Because what
She's moving.
the person under you is more qualified than you at this position at this point. And not only am I more qualified, I have been doing a lot of the day-to-day stuff with the team that she was supposed to be doing because she just wasn't around. She just wasn't
Mm.
there. She put more energy into being um being with the upper management and trying to smoosh and things like that, which there's a place for that. I'm not knocking that. There's definitely a place for that. But again, we're in the midst of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We are trying to figure out like how to do our jobs, new things about our jobs, new contracts and things like that, and things that we have to do just to figure out. And you're nowhere. And because you're nowhere, they all looking at me going, hey, Fran, what do you think? Hey, Fran, how do you think we should proceed? Hey, Fran, this is what I'm struggling with when it comes to XYZ client. Can you give me feedback? all those things, that's her job.
Mm.
So I get my license, and because like I am fully licensed, I automatically get a pay bump. Because I can bill at a higher rate, I can do all these different things. And so I'm in a meeting with her, and thank God for masks, because my face would have probably showed my whole attitude. Um, but we're in there, and she's just like, I just feel like you have a lot more improvement that you can do. And I had to really struggle to like find things that, we could approve this raise for you. And I was sitting there, I know what my face looked like underneath the mask. Because remember, we like this, right? And my face was probably like, I know, I know you're not. When I say, I literally sat there and I was just like, breathe deep. And I was just nodding. I said, "Oh, cool. This is gonna be my new pay. Bet. These are my extra job duties I have to do to." Okay, cool. What I did not appreciate was her being condescending and disrespectful, and belittling and lowering all of my accomplishments because you aren't doing your job, and because you know that if it came down to it, everybody gonna come to ask me what we should be doing and not you, because I'm here. And so literally I walked out of her office, went to my little cubicle, and was like, resume updating. Go ahead and switch on LinkedIn, open for jobs. Let me upload this stuff to Indeed and Simply Hire and all these things. I was redoing my whole stuff because I was like, it's time for me to leave.
Yeah.
I was like, it's time for me to go. And I was like, and it's not because I don't love this place from employment. It's not because I don't love this team and the rest of my coworkers and all the things that we could do. It's because I have no way to grow. I am continuously doing the same things over and over and over again, and fixing things for people who do not respect me. I have seen this. At this point, I was just like, oh, I see you, Lord. I got you. You ain't got to tell me no more. I got you. I was like, you ain't got to give me no more signs. Bet. And so I made that decision. I was like, all right, bet. Like literally that day, I am leaving this job. I'm leaving this job. We're gonna figure it out. And push come shove, like if I needed to leave that job that day, I put in my notice effective immediately. I was good. I was taken care of. Money wise, bill wise, all that, I was taken care of. I didn't really need to continue to work there and figure and be like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I had to worry about all that. But I was like, I'm not gonna leave the team in a lurch. 2, I'm not gonna leave my clients in a lurch. I want to make sure that they're good and like spaced out and all that. And so I started putting feelings out there to like people that I knew. And literally one of the people that I knew was like, XYZ is hiring trauma therapists, and that they probably will hire you immediately. When I say, okay, let me go ahead and apply. I applied the next day, like 8 a.m. I got a call. Hey, this friend from MBH? I said, yeah. They were like, oh, you ready to leave MBH? Bet. Hey, I want to get you set up with an interview. But first, you applied for a non-licensed position. I need you to apply for a licensed position. It's more money. And it's this code. Go back and apply for that. And then I'm going to get you set up for an interview probably like the next week. She was immediate. Like, no, I got you. No, we are getting you in. I don't care. And with that, right, when you're thinking about adaptability and how your thought process needs to be, and how you got to take opportunities when they come, right? Sometimes you have to evaluate the blessings that come, because that wasn't like the first interview that I have gotten. That wasn't the first like person who was like, absolutely, we will hire you. We will hire you. We got you. That wasn't it. But that was what I needed. That was the best position for what I needed, which is why I'm currently working as a trauma therapist. And that in itself allowed me to be like, oh, okay. Like, again, I kind of needed the reminder that I I know what I'm doing, and people recognize what I'm doing to the point
Mm-hmm.
where I switched positions. I'm now, I'm working as a trauma therapist, and one of the things that I used to do at my old agency was I used to go into shelters and things and um, do therapy, some light case management work, like
Mm-hmm.
things to help with like mentally ill who are homeless.
Yes.
I was like, hey, I'm switching positions. I'll be working with, this agency, and they were like, oh, okay, bet. And as soon as the contract was up with my old agency, they was like, hey, new agency, can we have her back?
Right.
Can we have her back? We will pay. We will pay. We will supplement whatever her salary is. We will pay half of it if we can just get her back. Couple days a week. Couple days a week, we need her back. And I was just like, okay, cool. That's fine. I'm good with that. I love that. I love that work. That's no problem. So like the blessings that will follow, that will follow you when you actually just allow God
Amen.
to speak to you. You follow through with the
Amen.
signs, right?
Yes.
Right. You say, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you. Like I said, I as soon as she said, I think you have so much more work to do, I was like, oh, this is a sign. I got you. I
Yeah.
got you, Lord. You ain't got to say nothing else. I got you. No problem. It's
Mhm.
time for me to leave.
And you know when it's time. You know
Mhm.
when you feel it in your spirit, in your soul, in your it's just all over you. You know when that door is ready to be closed. And I can tell already when that door closed, it was closing. And sometimes we want to stay in there and hang in there. And he be telling us, no, I'm showing it to you. I'm
Right.
letting you know.
Mhm.
And once you let it close, and you don't even look back, you just see the glory and the blessing in it, where God has taken you from and where he's getting ready to take you through. And look at the doors that he has opened, and he's making it more abundant, more for you, where you're able to just continue to be friend and do what friend, the plans that he has for you and the
Mhm.
plans that he has over your life. You are such a blessing. I'm just listening to your story and hearing. Can you share with me a little bit about what the trauma part of that is? When you say trauma therapy,
Yeah.
if you can share a little bit about that for the audience.
Yeah. So, trauma is wide ranging, right? We'll say that trauma is absolutely wide ranging. What I in particular do is help individuals who have had some crime related based trauma. Um, because I'm part of a grant that is through ICEJA, which is essentially like um, injustice and justice
Mm-hmm.
related type grant. So I help individuals essentially who have been or are starting to be in this really dark tunnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you really can't see the light at the end, and
Mm-hmm.
it the opening you just went in, that's closed, that's
Yeah.
barricaded. You can't go back. You
Mm-hmm.
can't go back. You can't go back to who you were because this trauma has happened, right? And
Right.
when trauma happens at whatever period of your life that is, whether it's childhood, young adulthood, late, like whenever that happens, it can feel like you are in this tunnel and you are stuck.
Yeah.
Because you are stuck, you're not sure what to do. You're just going through the motions of life, or you're not even really functioning in
Mm-hmm.
life. And so, what I do is I sit down and I be like, hey, we're in this tunnel together. Don't worry,
Mm-hmm.
I got a flashlight. We can still see a little bit. We good, right? We're in this tunnel together. Now, let's figure out what we need to do to progress in this
Mm-hmm.
stuff and what that means for you. For some people, that means finding different housing, finding a different job, getting like these basic life skills under the way, and figuring out how do I still do all these basic things that everybody has to do in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of it, have more anxiety, have more reactivity to certain things, right? And how can I still have all these things that are going on and all these triggers and reactions and things like that, but I'm still able to function?
Oh, wow.
Right? I'm still able to take care of what I need to take care of, because sometimes
Yes.
people just cannot do it. They're sitting there going, I got fired again. I don't know what happened. I just kind of went off on it. Okay. I'm sorry that you got fired again. I'm sorry that happened to you. Let's really break down this interaction and what
Mm-hmm.
made and how you were feeling. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's really break down what we could have done differently, or
Mm-hmm.
what we can do in the moment that would have had a different outcome. Because sometimes people just don't know. And not only do they not know, they can't necessarily see it, which is part of why, people come to therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy in itself is a place where someone can be purely selfish.
Wow.
And when you hear the word selfish, right, you're like, "Ooh, I don't want to be selfish." But I'm not saying that you have to be selfish in every aspect of your life. But when you come to therapy, when you come sit in this chair, you come sit on this couch, you come lay on the floor, I don't really care, right? As long as you're comfortable. When
Mm-hmm.
you are in that office, it is purely about you. It
Mm-hmm.
is purely about what is it that you want in your life? What brings you joy? What brings you peace? How can we help facilitate that day to day, right? In the midst of everything else that you got going on, in the midst of all the rest of these stresses that you might have, how can we together make you the best version of yourself, right? How can we figure out how this might be better for you? And so therapeutically, there are different ways that that could
Mm-hmm.
happen. There are different theories and things that I could be utilizing to help you do that. In general, what I would always tell people that if you're asking about like how I do therapy specifically, I'd be like, well, I am a strength-based, person-centered therapist, right? So we're gonna work with your strengths. We're gonna make it individualized to you as a person, right? And then we're going to try to make sure that in whatever way I need to talk to you, we understand that this is the way I'm talking to you, not necessarily how I'm going to talk to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Um, because as far as like social work and most like therapeutic spaces in general, there's an idea that you have to meet people where they are. Right.
Absolutely.
So I am that person who, if I'm working with somebody who I got to curse at for them to understand, I'm cool with that. Now, granted, I've had like interns and stuff with me. I'm like, I need you to understand that the way I'm about to talk to this person, I don't talk to everybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
And realize that this is our relationship, the rapport
Mm-hmm.
that we have built.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do this. I can
Right.
do this. You can't do this. Right? Because if you try to talk to this person like I'm about to talk to this person, he about to jump up try to fight you. Don't do that. Because we got a relationship. You just here.
Right.
um, and so it's things like that where I'm just like, all right, I have talked to this person where I'm just sitting here like I'm cursing. I'm like, now you can't go to the judge and curse out the judge trying to get your point across. Let's figure out a way we can still get our point across, but not use all the curse words.
Yes.
So tell me what you want to say to the judge. And I'm like, okay, instead of FUB, right? Instead of that,
Mm-hmm.
how about I don't particularly like the way you're talking to me. That's still not like highbrow educated,
Right.
but it's a step above what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
Right? And so when it comes to trauma, a lot of times those reactions that we have, the verbal reactions, the internal reactions, all that, the reactions that we have, whether physical or mental, internal, whatever, it is because something happened to you. But just because it happened to you doesn't mean that it has to continuously to stay to affect you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Again, like I said, you can't go back. You can't be the person that you were, but you can pivot. You can change.
Absolutely.
You can say, this is what I envision myself, who I envision the healed version of myself to be. But a healed version of yourself does not mean that you are going back to the person that you were. It doesn't mean that you are allowing the same things and same triggers to affect you in the same way, right? Because it still might affect you. Nothing is 100%, right? But instead of something happening and now you're blacking out mad and you just got arrested again, now it's, oh, this, I can't be worried about this right now. I got other things, right? It's still affecting you. You still mad, right? You still, that was shady. Or, ooh, I don't need that person in my life. Or, ooh, this is a sign. You're able to recognize that better, right? You're able to handle things better. And that's kind of what I do as a trauma therapist, right? It's a matter of figuring out how we can get you to that point. Because sometimes getting you out of that tunnel means really helping you and giving you the tools to get yourself out. Because a lot of times I can see a plan. I can be like, "Ooh, if we could just do this, this, and this." But getting you to that step one can take months.
Absolutely. So. Fran, you know, this is a great conversation. I'm just so enthused and sitting here listening to you, and I'm like, this is just so wonderful. So here is my closing, and my final question to you, and your final thoughts that you would leave with our audience today. What pivoting moment? What would you share to let us know to the audience to your final thoughts today?
Final thoughts. Something I like to say to a lot of clients or even people in my life is you cannot water someone else's plant when you're dying on the vine, right? Meaning you have to take care of yourself first. You have to pour into yourself first. If you are not pouring into yourself, if you are not making sure that you are celebrating the things in your life that you enjoy, just celebrating the things that have brought you joy, right? If you are not doing that for yourself, you're not pouring into yourself. Finding your peace is just as important as bringing someone else peace, right? Finding your peace means that you are living for yourself, that you are living your life, and living your life is a blessing. So when you are able to live your life, you are in turn celebrating the life that God has given you. So pour into yourself. Make sure you are pouring to yourself. Celebrate the things that bring you joy, and celebrate the things, any small accomplishment that you might have done, right? And that can range from, I got up and took a shower today because I'm highly depressed. Babe,
that is awesome.
We're going to celebrate that. To, I just got this new job because my old job wasn't serving me.
Yes.
Celebrate it. You got to celebrate it. When I say I celebrated and I cheered myself on so hard, I had friends, family who were cheering me on so hard when I was like, I gotta make an adjustment. I gotta get a new job. They were like, bet, we got you. And because I celebrated myself that hard, anytime somebody else in my life, whether that's a patient or a client or someone else, like personally in my life, I'd be like, we right here for you. What you need, what you want, right? You want a drink? You want to go out to eat? I got you. You want to sit here on the couch and just have a movie night and veg out? Oh, bet I got all the snacks. Let's go. Right? I'm cool with that. You have to celebrate and you have to bring joy into your life. Because when you don't, you are doing yourself a disservice. So if you don't have anything else, if you get nothing else from me, please remember that. Make sure you pour into yourself and don't be afraid to change and pivot.
Oh, wonderful, friend. Thank you for enlightening us with your inspiring insights on the power of a pivot. Your wisdom and experience have left a lasting impact, motivating us to embrace change and navigate changes with resilience. We truly appreciate the value you contribute to my podcast today. I would love for you to come back in the future. May God continue to bless you again. I'm going to continue to celebrate myself. I'm going to continue to move forward in the changes. I appreciate everything that you have shared with us today, your life, your testimony. Continue to let God use you. You are awesome woman of God. If you have never been told that, you are an awesome woman of God, and continue to celebrate yourself as well. And I'm going to continue to check in with you from time to time. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And I'd like to leave my viewers and my listeners with a declaration. I hereby declare the extraordinary power of pivoting, the ability to adapt, innovate, and navigate change with resilience. In the face of challenges, I embrace the pivot as a source of strength, unlocking new opportunities and charting a course toward success. By the authority vested in me, I decree that the power of pivoting shall be harnessed as a cornerstone of the strategic decision making. Individuals and entities are encouraged to cultivate agility, envisioning pivots not as a detour, but as a transformative shift that propels the progress. Let it be known that the adaptability is virtual, and the path of the successful journey often wins through the artful executions of a well-timed pivots. If you would like to be a guest speaker at Woman Lady Sister, email me at womanladysister@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Woman Lady Sister. And make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know, I'm just checking in. And as Fran has shared with us today, celebrate yourself. Celebrate those small moments. Enjoy yourself. Find your peace and find your strength. Until I see you again, I'm just checking in. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye for now.